I am back home because somehow I managed to survive both New Orleans and the Overlook Film Festival, which were both too much fun. If you want to see some of the behind-the-scenes nonsense, I've got the vlog up. I'll include a link at the end of this video. It was a blast. I'm so happy to be back home, though, and recapping the box office, because especially with the Fantasy Movie League, this is the end of another season, so we have another full season winner. But before we get there, we only had one perfect lineup in the league last weekend, and it went to Guyette, the only perfect lineup for the last weekend of play in the spring season. Congratulations to you, but it wasn't enough to catch our spring 2019 winner. It was the Force A Nathans. Congratulations, you've been in the mix so often from week to week, so a deserved win right here. You're going to be hearing from me soon because I've got some prizes for you. Now, though, it's on to the top 5, and hey, I got another 5 for 5, which I'm pretty happy about. Godzilla, though, yeah, Godzilla King of the Monsters did take the top spot, but it got off to a little bit of a disappointing start, coming in under expectations with $47.8 million. Aladdin, on the other hand, held fairly strong, dropping 53.2% and taking another $42.8 million to the bank. After that, it was Rocketman, which opened up with a solid $25.7 million, followed by Ma, which took $18.1 million on a reported $5 billion production budget. And then finally, at number 5, it was John Wick 3, adding another $11.1 million to its already impressive total. Now bringing it over to the new round of predictions. At number 5 this time around, I've got Rocketman, and I have very, very high hopes for a stronghold for this one. Good word of mouth. It is a fantastic film that I'm hoping continues to be talked about all throughout the year to Oscar season, but for this specific weekend, I think a good comp might be the Mamma Mia movie. And I'm talking about a good comp for me for my box office predictions, but also if that one winds up lining up with Mamma Mia, it's going to have such a minimal weekend to drop. That movie came out in the summer of 2008, and it dropped a mere 36.1% its second weekend in theaters. And that was with some sizable competition in weekend 2 of The Dark Knight and also the opening of Step Brothers. So I kind of want to see Rocketman hold on that strong, and I think it really might. So I'm going with something like a 36 or 37% drop, which would still give Rocketman another $16 million this weekend. Moving on now, I have a bad feeling that Godzilla King of the Monsters is in trouble this weekend. In fact, I think it's in so much trouble that Aladdin might wind up topping it, which would make Godzilla King of the Monsters my 4 pick this time around. Looking at Kong Skull Island briefly, that one had a respectable weekend 2 drop of 54.4%, but with King of the Monsters, I have a feeling it's going to be much more in line with the 2014 Godzilla movie, even though it made so much less opening weekend. That movie, weekend 2, it dropped a whopping 67%. Yes, that might be a little high given the fact that King of the Monsters only opened with $47.8 million, but still, even when I'm thinking of something like a 60% weekend 2 drop, I have a feeling that's unavoidable for King of the Monsters. If that's the hit it winds up taking, it's only making another $20 million this weekend. So now, of course, that makes Aladdin my number 3 pick for the weekend. And again, that 53.2% drop from last weekend, that's a pretty strong hold given what it made. And it made me want to look again at Oz the Great and Powerful. That movie weekend 2 also held strong. It dropped 47.9%. And then actually in weekend 3, that percent change came down just a little, but still a solid hold again to 47.7%. And I have a feeling a similar thing could happen to Aladdin, where we see that percent change number stay fairly stagnant, maybe 53 or 52%. And if that's what it winds up losing, it's going to top Godzilla King of the Monsters and make another $21 million this weekend. These next 2 are our big releases of the weekend, and they're going to be interesting to discuss and track. For number 2 this time around, I'm going with the last iteration of the X-Men film franchise over at 20th Century Fox, Dark Phoenix. Initially, I was thinking that this one could benefit from sheer curiosity. How does this iteration of the X-Men film franchise end? And then also, after all those production woes, how did this thing turn out in the end? But then the reviews came in, and they're not just bad, they're extremely bad, ripping this movie to shreds, a rock bottom Rotten Tomatoes score, which personally I think is a little too extreme, but those reviews and that score could influence whether or not someone out there buys a ticket. And looking at ticket sales right now, they actually do look pretty good, but what I'm concerned about with this one is maybe the folks buying right now, we're going to prioritize Dark Phoenix anyway, and then without a good buzz, good word of mouth going through the weekend, we could see sales dip extremely. And with that in mind, I'm starting to think that my original prediction of this movie coming close to something like X-Men First Class with about $55 million, which is where projections are right now, I just have a feeling it's going to come in lower, maybe even being the lowest opening of the Fox X-Men film franchise. That title right now belongs to 2013's The Wolverine with its $53.1 million start. Instead, I started to lean towards Terminator Salvation, especially because the money split between Salvation and also Night at the Museum Battle of the Smithsonian could be a similar split between Dark Phoenix and The Secret Life of Pets. So if that's the path this movie is heading down right now, I've got a feeling that Dark Phoenix might be going for a $45 million opening this weekend. And now that, of course, makes my #1 movie for the weekend, The Secret Life of Pets 2. I have a feeling Universal is hoping that this one matches the first movie, which was a huge, huge hit, but that $104.4 million start is just so far out of reach. Instead, I'm looking at some other Illumination releases, and my eye was drawn to Despicable Me 3, which hit theaters last summer. See, but with that one, it hit during a holiday weekend, so I am keeping that in mind. So I'm taking that movie's $72 million start, and I'm just bringing it down a little. I've got a feeling Secret Life of Pets is going to close out weekend one with $65 million of its own. That now brings us to the recap portion of our show. We've got Secret Life of Pets topping my list with $65 million. Then it's Dark Phoenix opening up at number 2 with $45 million. Aladdin taking the 3 spot with $21 million. Then it's Godzilla King of the Monsters at number 4 with $20 million. And then finally, Rocketman closing out my top 5 with $16 million. There you guys have it. It's going to be an interesting weekend at the box office again, so do chime in below. Let me know what you think, especially with those 2 big openings this weekend. I'm so curious to get your thoughts. And of course, a new season of Fantasy Movie League begins this weekend. So get in early, start to get those scores up. That's how you last all throughout the season and get some cool prizes like the Force A Nathans. So guys, I got to say goodbye. But before I leave you, Patreon shout out time. We've got a great group of 6 to recognize right now, and they are Craig, Cedric, Paul, Andrew, Corey, and Jefferson. Thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate it. Dewey appreciates it too, even though clearly he's being lazy today and taking the day off somewhere. I really do appreciate your support, though. I love doing these box office videos, and you are a big factor in keeping this whole channel up and running. So thank you again. Thanks to everybody out there for watching this video. As always, do not forget to like and share it, and I'll see you next weekend for more box office predictions.